So I use this analogy on LinkedIn, but I think it's a good analogy to use. In essence, for me, it feels like crypto is at the end of the gold rush. At the start of the gold rush, anyone and everyone could go to a lake, they'd find a bunch of gold, and loads of people became rich. That was crypto 2014 to 2021. Again, it was ridiculously easy to make money. Hundreds of thousands of millionaires were probably made, and it was very accessible to everyone. Now it's like you actually actively have to like stand in the lake for hours to find that gold nugget. And that gold nugget can vary based on what you're looking for. But I didn't speak to too many projects, far less than last year. And Token 2049 is already a bit more of a like, I don't want to say institutional, but a bit more of like a high level conference where you don't meet projects. You do meet projects, but there's less projects than like a Dev Connect or something. But this year I really felt it. Like I would speak to 15, 20 people before I find a project. And that's not a bad thing. I think it's a healthy correction because everyone and anyone was building something that was in ultimate reality just a value extraction play. And we've really seen less of those now. But at the same time, there can be no industry without projects. If there's no projects, market makers, advisors, exchanges, no one makes money. So we do need to ensure that businesses are still building in the space. Also, I do think there was a bit of, I don't want to say jet lag, but like Token has been the main conference for a few years now, like one of the main ones at least. And I think people are starting to not get bored of it necessarily, but they want something different. This year, I heard far more complaints about F1 than any other year in Token, Singapore specifically. People were just tired of it. There wasn't as many events for the F1. Maybe that means people have less money. Maybe it just means people are less interested. But it just seems to be like there's a lot of tiredness, I guess, in the industry. People want something different.
Yeah, interesting. You mentioned that there's a need for project and builders and people that can continue to build. Otherwise, everyone will kind of struggle. What do you see as the solution to this? Like, how do we keep people to build? How do we keep VCs, to invest money? And how do we keep ultimately retail interested as well, right? Because down the line, that's where, without retail, we'll all die. Without retail, there's no projects. Without projects, there's no VCs. And we're all struggling, so to say.
It's a difficult question because I think whoever cracks it will ultimately make a lot of money. There's a few chains that I think are doing a good job. One, I think we need to go far more grassroots. So I've spent quite a bit of time in Indonesia recently, and I was originally came here for like the Solana Startup Village to be a mentor. And about 70% of the projects were the same. They were things I'd seen, whether it just be like some basic AI agent builder or some trading platform, or will capture all the APIs for you. But there was like quite a few gems in there. But these people just don't have the ability to fully build a business. They don't have the ability to fundraise because VCs don't look at these regions. For example, like there was a kid who was building something pretty cool, but he gets a laptop for 1 hour a day from his friend. And that's the only time he has to code. He can't even afford a laptop. So I think one thing is going more grassroots. And I think that's honestly one of the best things Solana has done with the super teams. And I'm by no means a Solana maxi. I think it does a lot of things wrong as well. VCs need to like open their scope and stop just looking at, I think, America or New York, where a lot of the capital is now. Europe, I think you just need to expand your horizon. I think ecosystems and people in the space in general who do like are sort of advisors, I guess, they need to look at the communities that aren't being explored. I think, again, LATAM as well, but I haven't got experience in LATAM. But definitely in APAC, there's a lot of parts of APAC where the technology is actually needed. Like there are clear infrastructure problems, and for it to be adopted, it's going to be much easier for projects and businesses that use the technology to be adopted here. I don't know if that answers it. There's probably a few bits I didn't touch on, but that would be my overall thoughts.
Yeah, I think that this is the question we're all kind of struggling with. Is like, what is the thing that keeps it alive, or kind of like keeps it going, or how do we resolve it? And I think it's inevitable to at some point go into a bear market. But I think these cycles are very much boom and bust. And how do we get the volatility out of it to keep it more stable, so to say, where there's always a good environment for people to build in, and it can actually slowly go up rather than really go in boom and bust cycles like we've seen before.